हेलो दोस्तों, वेलकम बैक टू कॉन्सेप्ट ज्ञान.com। जैसे कि आप सभी को पता है कि एग्जाम अब आने वाले हैं, तो मुझे उम्मीद है कि आप सबने अपने पूरे सिलेबस का रिवाइज तो किया ही होगा और साथ में एग्जाम की तैयारी खूब जोरों शोरों से चल रही होगी। तो इस बीच में आप लोगों को कुछ एग्जाम के टिप्स बताने आया हूँ। तो मैं आज आप लोगों को अकाउंट्स के पेपर के कुछ टिप्स बताऊंगा जिससे आप ज्यादा से ज्यादा मार्क्स गेन कर पाओ। कुछ बच्चे उसमें सिली मिस्टेक यानी बहुत सारे कॉमन मिस्टेक जो होते हैं वो करते हैं, तो वो मैं आप लोगों को बताऊंगा कि उससे आप कैसे बचें और कैसे ज्यादा से ज्यादा मार्क्स आप गेन कर पाओ। तो चलो स्टार्ट करते हैं।
As exams are approaching and you're probably revising your chapters, we thought we'll share some useful tips for you to write and present your accounting paper well. And we'll also see some common mistakes that students make which can be avoided. I won't be taking much time, we'll try and keep this brief. First point is presentation. So it has to be pleasing to the examiner. Write full sentences for objective type questions. Do not scribble when you make a mistake, but just strike it off with one line. Underline your main answers. Make proper columns with a pencil. Give the right headings. Complete headings, including the duration for which you're preparing the account. Write debit and credit wherever needed. Write the amounts and the currency sign. Preparing your accounts carries marks, so you have to pay attention to all these details. Also, always start a new main question on a new page. These are basic things and you might have heard of them before, but they are important. Next, coming to the solving part, attempting the question. Always attempt the questions that you are confident about first, but number them correctly. But if you are well prepared, then by all means, please go by the order of the paper as it is easier for the examiner to correct. Read the paper correctly to see where there is a choice between multiple questions and plan what you're going to attempt. Don't try to solve all the options as you might end up not completing your paper. So solve your paper wisely, keeping in mind a rough time limit that you can give for each question. Now let's see some commonly made mistakes that can be avoided. Coming to the questions, narrations. When asked to prepare journal entries, sometimes we do not know what to write in a narration or we skip this altogether. We have to explain the transaction here. You'll get the hints for that from the question itself. Being goods sold on credit. Being bill drawn on Devidas. Second, writing only what is asked. Sometimes in a hurry, we'll just read the information and not the question and prepare ledgers, not realizing that they had actually asked to prepare journal entries. No marks can be allotted if such a mistake is made. So please read the question correctly and carefully. Complete the titles for all the statements or accounts prepared. Mention the date or the duration for which it is prepared. For example, in the books of Raj, profit and loss account for the year ended, balance sheet as on a particular date. Remember, an account is prepared for the year ended, but a statement is prepared as on a particular date. Cross-check if debit amount equals the credit. Like in this case, the debit total isn't coming up to 30,000, which means there's a calculation mistake. Next one, in bills of exchange, a common mistake observed was getting the amount of new bill renewed wrong. At the time of final settlement, here many a times we forget to include the interest, or sometimes we assume that the dishonored bill amount only is the new bill amount. However, it is to be calculated as follows. New bill renewed is dishonored bill amount plus interest minus any part payment. Okay, moving on. The next one is working notes. We tend to sometimes just calculate roughly without any working notes. But remember, they carry marks and are part of your solution. So always write them at the end of your solution. order of preparing accounts. Now we know that gross profit from trading is carried to profit and loss account, and the net profit from profit and loss goes to the balance sheet. So we must prepare the accounts in this order itself. Trading account first, profit and loss account, if there's a partner's capital account, and that followed by the balance sheet. If there is some space here and there on your answer sheet, don't try to just fit in some random account there, as the order in which we prepare accounts is important. Same goes for other chapters as well. Next is numbers and totaling. Please make sure to write the numbers one below the other, starting from the right hand side, the unit side. This will make it easy for you to calculate. Use the commas so that you do not count a 3,000 as a 30,000. When we are just glancing, we tend to make these small mistakes. Another thing is, write the numbers neatly. Your 1 shouldn't appear like a 7. Likewise, a comma shouldn't appear like a 1. That way you only end up calculating wrong numbers. Inner column totaling. Inner column totaling, if done, always goes to the outer column. If you write the totals like in this case, there is a possibility you will total those numbers twice. Lastly, when you calculate the total, write it in pencil first, and only when you're sure, make it in pen. And don't waste much time if you aren't getting your totals right. Move on to the next question, and you can keep that for the end. Focus more on getting your posting entries and the amounts correctly first. And finally, if you finish your paper before time, please make sure to check everything once, as sometimes even though your answers tally, if there is an error, your figures may still be wrong.
अगर हमारी वीडियो पसंद आए तो इसको लाइक करें, सब्सक्राइब करें और ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ इसको शेयर करें। थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग।